This morning we're going to do some measuring to figure out the boundaries of the garden because I'm going to expand it just a little bit. There's a lot of good soil over the years because I've put a lot of compost, a lot of amendments, and just good stuff in the soil. I think we're going to end up doing a gravel bed and doing raised beds on top, so this is a good time to take all that good soil off and mound it up. I'll put it over here by the barn. Let's walk over there. You can see there's that pile. Pretty good pile of soil, so we'll let it sit there until we get the garden beds set up, and these are going to be deep raised beds, so that would be a great first layer, a bottom layer, and then we'll put something with fewer weed seeds on top. One of the things I want to accomplish is getting, we have the front of these pins over here, the front of the pool deck here, kind of more or less in a line. I want to get a good straight line so that we can center right on that barn. This pathway will be centered on the barn. So we're going to mark this edge first with some colored string. I'm going to look up and down that string line from both directions to make sure I'm satisfied with that line, because that's going to be my baseline, or whatever you call it when you mark these things out. This is going to be the line that I make the rectangle from. So this is going to be my first line. So I'm just kind of checking it out. Looks pretty good that way. It's hard to make anything straight when none of this was designed together. So we have sort of a wonky angle on the chicken pins here. When I built the deck here, I wasn't really thinking of lining it up with too much. I just kind of built it where it looked right at the time. If I could go back in time, I'd make things a little different. I got a few more pieces of rebar there. I'm gonna mark this edge here. It's gonna be 90 degrees off of this string line going toward the house. I'm gonna try to aim for something that will line up between this door and the edge of these steps. The goal there is that I still want to have a fairly decent line of sight from the back door to the steps of the pool here. For the rest of the corners, I'm not going to bore you with the measurements and the math and all that. I'm just going to go and try to figure out how to make 4 90-degree corners to make a rectangle. After just a few minutes of math and calculations, we have a square on the ground in string, this pink string. I also stood up the gate that we're going to use as our garden gate, just to kind of visualize. That's going to go across the corner here. Today is a big day on the garden. We did a lot of prep work, and now my son and I out here, we're going to be digging a trench, setting forms, so we can pour concrete, basically a box around the garden, which will be a footer for the wall, for the short brick wall. Also, it'll help level up the garden so that we can prevent the erosion that happens right now from back to front. Brody is running around trying to find level. He's got the laser level. So we're going to make sure that this garden wall, the short footer wall, is going to be level from back to front. We rented a baby excavator. I say baby because that's the smallest excavator I've ever seen. We rented that to help us dig the trench, just to save us a little bit of back pain using the shovel. And yes, I broke the water line already. Capped. Now we can turn the house water back on. You can see around here we have already set up some forms they're not complete. We're going to be building forms today. There will be a footer wall, just a concrete footer all the way around, and then we're going to build a short wall around 3 sides, and then the fence will be on top of that. The back wall over here will be a really cool looking stone wall with a gate in it. The garden will have 3 gates when we're finished. One over there, one on the corner where it's going to have a nice little arbor, and then one over on this side as well. We have the water line that we broke and capped off yesterday as well. It's capped here, exposed, because we're going to be running new water lines after the footer wall is complete. Overall, the final size of the garden is going to be 40 by 39, so we got a few more square feet by reconfiguring and redoing the garden space with this new wall. Forms are mostly done, at least on the outside, and now getting ready to drill some holes because these fence posts are going to live inside the footer wall, so they're actually going to come up through the concrete. And my son's going to use his little thing, whatever it is. Got an auger on there, that's nice. So he's going to drill holes while I run to the store and get 2 more fence posts because I'm short. Well, I'm average height, but I'm short. 2 posts.
Is there a treasure under there?
Yes, somebody buried a treasure, like a concrete block. Maybe it's the lid to a secret world.
Great.
Well, I guess.
It's a footer. Look, it's a footer.
Yeah, we could just leave it in there. Except we need a post right there. Somebody buried that in just the right place. We ended up doing a lot of work to get most of the framework or the forms put up. We also got holes drilled for the post. And we did end up with a little bit of a problem down here. Let me show you. It's not really a problem. We're going to be able to make it work. But down on this corner, right where there's supposed to be a post, there's a big poured piece of concrete. Not sure why it's there, but we tried to break it out, tried to lift it up. It's just way too big. But there's 16 inches from the top of the form to the top of that concrete block. So I think we're going to be fine with putting a post on top of it. We got a few more forms set in just on the front to take it all the way to the ground here. All the holes are initially drilled for the post. I still need to clean them out. I need to form up the stoop area. This is where the entrance to the garden, one of the 3 entrances. Once I get all those poles plumb and supported, probably in a few days I'll be ready to pour concrete. Once all the gravel is in and we get the raised beds, this is going to be a really nice space that we can control a lot better than what was here before as far as weeds go. During the week, in the evenings, I've been working on straightening up these posts. I'm going to show you the process that I'm going through to get these posts straight and how it's going to end up in the wall, the footer wall itself. Here's a few that are already done. They're all nice and in line and straight. Put the level on them and they're nice and level. They're all the same measurement away from the walls in here. The concrete's going to actually form around these poles. I'm not too concerned about needing to replace the post anytime soon because these treated posts will easily last 20 plus years. So if we ever did need to replace one, we would just have to cut it off, drill it out, and fit a new post in. Along this board here, I marked everywhere I need the center of a post with an arrow. These posts are roughly 4 inches wide, so I came 2 inches off of that and made a line on both sides. That gives me an edge that I can tie down. I'll line this up on those lines, screw it down on both sides. That helps make this more rigid and also gives me a way to tie into with a screw into that post to help keep it where it needs to be. Of course, always keep in mind that I'm not a professional concrete person, or really any sort of professional, except for a graphic designer where I work. But other than that, the rest of everything I do on this farm is just me figuring things out, maybe doing some YouTube research, and asking other people that know what they're doing, and just getting out here and getting it done. Now I can stand my post up, and it's going to be centered on here. Hopefully I have that hole in the right place, and I can get a level on it this way, figure out, lean it up against here. Kind of wiggle that around. That's pretty close. And it looks like I need to shave that wall down a little bit to get that bottom of post scooted over so this can be level. Make sure we're center there. And once we get that where we need it, we can put one screw through here. And draw it up tight, hold it in place so I can put some gravel around the base. That's pretty much the process I'm going through for each of these posts all the way around. And when we're all done, we'll make sure that the base of the forms are all closed up so the concrete won't run under, and then we'll get some concrete ordered out here. For those of you who made it, thank you for watching to the end of the video. In the comments below, tell me what you hope that I grow in this garden. That way I'll know you made it to the end. Part 3 of this video is going to be the stressful concrete pouring. I'm not a concrete person. The garden is going to come together, and it is going to be a lot of fun to share with you. I believe everyone has a story, and every story counts. Thank you so much for being a part of my story and letting me be a part of yours. I'll talk to you soon.